How are we going, folks? Doing some potting up here, the big Malakas. Everybody's been screaming for them. And as I said earlier in the episodes or segments that I've done in the past, they haven't grown as fast as we like because we don't use artificial flavouring and colouring here. It's all naturally grown, just a little bit of a heat mat. Our temperatures have been pretty average at the moment, but they have come along. Just let me put these aside for a second. A couple of things I'm going to go through here. One is the tray. This is a tray of about 198 seedlings. These are all big Malakas. We've got a couple of varieties that we've used. We've got a 900 gram tomato and a 1.3 kilo. So that doesn't mean the tomato itself, when you plant it's going to grow to 1.3. It can actually grow bigger. It might grow a little bit smaller, but at the end of the day it's going to grow, and it's a big Malaka. Just pulling one out for you. Our roots have grown beautifully. Have a look at that, nice and clean and healthy, and that's what we're transplanting. See, we've got a red stem here. That's a hardening off result, meaning that's actually gone through some colder weather, and we've hardened it off to our climatic variations that we have here with our weather here. So it's not a soft stem, a soft succulent stem. It's actually quite a firm stem, quite a strong plant. So it's quite tolerant to, this harsh environment that we have. So no doubt if you plant it in your garden, it's going to be successful. And why I say your garden is that I'm not planting 600 big Malakas in my garden. I only need a half a dozen or so for myself. That's fine. But we are going to make these available to everybody, but not yet. This is what we're doing. We're putting them up into these little 4-inch pots here. We're not using a recycled pot because I haven't got any or enough of those to do it with, and I need to bring them on nice and firmly. But they are in our potting mix, our planting mix I should call it. That's what it is. It's a planting mix predominantly used for garden beds and raised beds and things like that, but I have grown them in pots as well. Now, these are the 1.3. They've got to grow up to about here, firm off, and put some roots on in this pot before we release them. So do not email and ask us to hold you any. We're not going to be able to. It's first in, best dressed, basically. So when I do announce their availability, which will be very soon, the first one down to the store, we can't ship them out. So I'm really, really sorry to everybody in other states. And we're going to work on the honesty system here. If you've bought seeds off us, the big Malaka seeds, because we've sold out of those as well, if you've got them and you're germinating them, you've got your big Malakas. There's enough for your family and your garden to grow there. So don't come in asking for them. We'll actually research you online to see if you bought them. So these are purely for those who missed out on the seeds, and they can come in and get themselves a little seedling. Well, it's not going to be little when we release them. Now, put that aside. Remember this plant, the elderflower? We planted this in this pot back in February this year. We were at the end of summer, it was going dormant, but what we did do is when we planted it is to use, and that's when we launched our superfood fertilizer. Now, many of you have got it, hundreds if not thousands of you have already purchased our superfood fertilizer, and I'm sure many, many of you, if not all of you, are excited about how it works. Now, what I did here is I actually planted it directly into superfood. So I filled this container with the fertilizer itself, purely for the exercise to see how it will perform and whether or not it will burn the plants. It has not done the burning in any way. It is bursting out with new growth. Here is the old growth. Have a look at that. That's the old woody stem there. See that there? That's all we had there. We had a little stump down there as well. That was as much as it was, and it only had a few leaves on it. Now, as we come into spring, look at the new shoots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on top as well. That is growing in superfood. So the trial has been a success for us as far as the superfood as a fertilizer, organic fertilizer, working as a growing medium. Look, it's too expensive to use as a growing medium. I mean, if you are inclined to spend an endless amount of dollars on your garden, like we are, then by all means knock yourself out. Now, I'm just being careful because I don't know how, oh no, it's okay. Just being careful how I pull it out because it is quite boggy, the superfood, if you use it as it is. Oh, here we go. Have a look at that. We've got worms in here. Oh yeah, I did top it up with some potting mix on top as well because the superfood did deplete. So that's underneath there, and this is just the top dress of potting mix. Just about that much on there, folks. But all this here is our composting, and that is our superfood. It's spongy. Look how spongy that is. Look how clean the roots are. That's what you want to see in a plant, a healthy root system like that. So that is doing well, and it's due. Actually, you know what? It's worked really well, the superfood, but we don't have to continue with it. I'm just going to get some of our planting mix, put some in here at the bottom, and then put that on top, like that. Let's just carefully put this back on top, straighten it up, there we are. And maybe just add a little bit more on top of that. Now that's superfood. If you haven't used superfood, folks, it's basically a frass. The scientific term used is frass, and it's made by the soldier fly, which feeds off the forest floors, the native forest floors. It feeds on all the moss, all the fallen leaves and branches. Chews that down, the larvae that is. So it lays its eggs in the mulch, breaks it all down. Now we've been able to harvest the soldier fly, breed it in captivity, and then feed it all the unprocessed green food scraps. So food like vegetables and fruit that haven't been processed, they get chopped up, fed to the larvae, they turn it into this beautiful, rich organic matter, which is then used in your garden, and it feeds your garden like there's no tomorrow. Plus it's also got the exoskeletal shell that helps to protect your plants against disease and insects. So it toughens up your plants. Have a look at the vibrancy here. Look at the colour in this plant. It is full of vibrancy, full of colour, and it's just bursting with life. And mind you, we still haven't kicked into spring properly here. Not here in Lethbridge, that's for sure. So if you haven't tried superfood, it's about time you did. Get some into your garden. It's available on our website. And now we're just going to finish potting all these up here. I've got a couple of days work here, folks. Small plant, plenty of roots at the bottom, dropping it into our planting mix, which has got everything. And this is the stuff that I've used in those garden beds in Coburg as well, that have been tremendously successful in growing some beautiful produce. If you haven't seen it, just scroll through our videos and you'll see it. It's about a week earlier that we actually filmed it there, showing you how big the lettuce has grown and all the veggies doing mighty well. So I'm going to keep potting these up, and if you need anything, check out our website, vasilisgarden.com, for everything you need. Discounted. Our spring sale is going to end at the end of September. 30 to 70% off a huge range of online products. Take advantage of it before the prices go back up. From me, Vasily, Maresi.